Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and more Birthright here as we will keep working our way through the initial section of the Kanasi realm. So today is the last of the political ones. That's Zikala. It's a smaller entry, so we don't get as much detail, but that just leaves more fertile ground for the DM and the players to come up with something here. So it is lawful neutral, so it's an interesting combo there. We don't see too many of those like that, at least not recently, but it is recommended, and it's a fairly large realm, and actually decently populated in some areas, right? We do have a lot of ones, twos, even a zero, but actually a couple zeros. But the two main areas, right, Turin and Zikala itself, you got a 5 and a 6, so that's plenty to work with there. And there's even some castle fortifications. Let's jump in, though. Zikala is traditionally ruled by mage regents known as Grand Viziers. The influential Zikalan Temple of Avani challenges the Grand Vizier's control, so you have a little bit of a back and forth actually here between the law, as far as like politics go, and the rulers, and then the temple actually trying to exert influence there, and actually quite a bit if you see. It's kind of roughly down the middle. Speaking of temple, the only temple of note is the Zikalan Temple of Avani, as mentioned, and now there is a teeny little one down there at the bottom, which is the Temple of the Ancients, but we'll get into that. The Gold Coast coster is prevalent in eastern Zikala, but the west falls under the sway of the extraordinary traders of Turin. So, fun name there. Controlled by Yolanda Serif. So, level 2 thief. So, in contrast to a lot of these crazy high-level characters we've seen recently, it's kind of a welcome change of pace to see a lower-level character, but still a bloodline of 20 and true neutral. Sources: the Grand Vizier's nefarious uncle Jaim el Zijef, or Zizef, one of those, is a more powerful wizard than the ruler and holds many sources too. So you got your work cut out for you if you're trying to take this as a country to rule. Now, certainly very fun for adventuring in here, especially with all the other areas nearby. But yeah, if you want a difficult one, the first few we've looked at, like Ben Sada and so on, relatively easy and straightforward. This one is going to be very difficult to really rule the whole nation here, because you got so many things working against you. You got the religion working in on the law, competing with the law, the people, even though you're sort of mage rulers, but the people, a lot of your family that are also wizards control a lot of the magic in the country as well, and really in some ways are more powerful than you, as it mentions here. So it's just all over the place. Today, the regent, Omar ibn Tuarim el Zijef, level 4 wizard, chaotic good, so that's pretty cool, and also a pretty solid bloodline of 36, rules as Grand Vizier of Zikala. In the past, the realm's most powerful wizard always took the throne, but once the Zijef family rose to power, they never relinquished control. Omar, though barely a competent wizard, is an intelligent young man, so that is, he has like youth in his favor here, because he has time to level up, so to speak, along with experience gained. But yeah, intelligent nonetheless, but who often leaves affairs of state to lieutenants so he can pursue a study of true magic. And that's kind of the problem of wizard-led countries, because yeah, you gotta focus on your craft and level that up, but that takes time and dedication. But also running a country does as well. So you got two competing interests there at best, if not more. Some consider El Zijef, so reliant on his advisors, a mere puppet for the court. And that's something, you may, I think a DM here, and especially players starting out on this, would be wise to maybe have some sort of event early on, or multiple events early on, that just show like, hey, yes, leveling up your magic and everything is important, studying, but you got a country to run, and it's almost a powder keg here that could go against you. Whatever the truth, though, it is widely known that the Grand Vizier relies mostly on the counsel of the Zikalan Temple of Avani. In addition to the priest Nuri Min Huran, so another level 3 here, Avani, lawful neutral, no bloodline though, representing the exalted high priestess Shandare of the Zikalan Temple. The regent also seeks advice from General Kasan el Zijef. The two often give the Grand Vizier conflicting advice, but hey, it's better than having a bunch of yes men and or women as your advisors, right? Because it's at least good that someone or at least both of them maybe care in their own way, but just different conflicting pieces of advice. But at least you have something there. Now, other important NPCs. The Exalted High Priestess Shandari is very powerful, so in contrast to a lot of the others that we've seen so far, as far as the characters of the realm. Level 9 Priestess, very large bloodline, lawful neutral, wields a tighter grip on the city of Turin than the regent himself. A stout matron of middle years, has a commanding manner and quick temper. This zealot has devoted herself to making Zikala a theocracy following Ivani, which currently it's not, sort of a magocracy. So lots of interesting things here. So again, in contrast to so many other realms, we've had several theocracies that we've looked at going back to Anawir, but here you have something just entirely different. Mage-led country, again, you can kind of see everything's all over the place. We've already said that, right? It's kind of a mess on different levels, but then you have temples here, not like a grasping for power kind of evil domination aim here, but just really like, hey, different idea, different path. They want to take the whole country and really transform it from wizard-led to priestly-led. So something different, certainly, to throw this kind of conflict at the players. The dangerous, scheming Prince Jaim El Zijef. This is the uncle that we saw earlier, right? Level 11 wizard, so he's your uncle is like almost 3 times in power the mage that you are, starting out here, and neutral evil. So yeah, not even lawful here. So this guy is definitely not working in your favor. Pretty solid bloodline as well, but he plans to depose the weak Omar to return the family to its former glory. Truth to tell, he might hold the regent's title today, if not for his shameful loss of Saim. Popular rumor claims he hastened his father's death to get his inheritance early, but General Kassan el-Zizef remains doggedly devoted to the current Grand Vizier, so you have at least a strong martial backer in your side. Despite the fact that the prince is a better wizard and more charismatic leader. James' latest plot would remove both of them from his path to power, so that's something that, little hints should be sprinkled in, and sort of the danger that he poses to the PCs, right, whoever they might be. But if it's, again, this current ruler as described, right, yeah, you're a novice wizard in comparison to him, but also, schemes should be all over the place as far as his dealings. You got the priestess there with her ambitions, but again, at least you have this general on your side, and having at least a powerful military figure is a good resource to have. But at some point, your character will need to level up and be a little bit more competent, right? Because no one's going to support a weak ruler forever. Now, last but not least here, description of the domain. Zikala and Turin were Massatian cities long ago, but few original structures remain. Both were destroyed in the ancient wars and later rebuilt. The city looks like typical Canasi seaports, though it doesn't take a visitor long to realize who controls Turin. The priestesses, soldiers, Templar are everywhere, so you have that as well. All right. So as above, and everything that we talked about with her trying to transform the place into a theocracy. She's clearly got a military arm to her faith as well. Like I said, if you're taking on this exact ruler, you have your work cut out for you. The northern steppes seem desolate and generally uninhabited, so that would explain those, 1s and 2s and even the 0s. Because the Sphinx's minions frequently hunt this area, most homesteading efforts have ended in disaster. Makes sense. General El-Zizef is building a system of watchtowers and fortified oases to base troops here permanently, but has only just begun the project. It's said the Sphinx feels very unhappy with the general's efforts. Well, yeah, most likely, and that may cause some conflict too. So as if you don't have enough internal problems to deal with, you do have that ever-present threat of the Sphinx as well. But fortunately, there are some allies out there. The state remains on decent terms with both Aria and Aftain, but sees trouble brewing with Bensada. The western state uses the Mura River to ship livestock downriver from its city of Andujar, But Turin taxes Binsadan vessels heavily to drive up prices. Some say Zikala maintains a treaty with the Harpy, which, that's ground for the players and the DM to maybe flesh that out. That's kind of already hinted to at in the Harpies entry as the Anshe. We'll get there when we talk about the domain. But that can be played up as well, at least have potentially a nominal ally in that Anshe. The Regent is also keeping an eye on the aggressive Shandari of the Zikalan temple. So, at least you do have a little bit of a bonus there. Now, it's unclear here, if they're really saying like the Regent, as in like the Harpy, is keeping an eye on them, which would be interesting that they would be spying there. Certainly a great resource to have, the Harpy with its flight and all its birds and all that. Really could be like sort of the ultimate spying device in that sense, or spying resource. But could also be like that they're saying that the actual Regent, the younger wizard, is keeping an eye on it. Certainly would have to at least passively be aware. But yeah, all together, guys, you have your work cut out for you with Zikala here. It's out of this first batch of domains, they all have their struggles and problems. I'd say, the first few, like Bensada and such, are probably the easier ones to jump in and rule. Zikala, very difficult. Again, if you're keeping it as is, you do need to get leveled up as a character, right? There are a lot of seemingly low-level characters here, but the true internal adversaries, right? You have your also a family member, right, who's also trying to. Both of these are trying to wrest political control from the domain as well. So you have that. So just so many different things here, but certainly evil and has schemes to remove you, and also your loyal general, who's probably your most or biggest backer and most loyal backer, we should say. But then this priestess here, now she's lawful neutral, so she's not necessarily given to like evil schemes, but certainly has some very powerful ambitions and wants to really transform the country, and that really would involve you being removed. So you have all your work cut out for you now. If there's a way to maybe steer that ambition into something else, like maybe with her zealotry and all that, like, hey, you want some political control and stuff like that. Well, go deal with these northern territories, fix those, maybe make them habitable, maybe deal with the Sphinx, kind of deflect the problem if you can, and point that towards one of your actual adversaries. So there's so much you can do with Zikala, but plenty of challenges internally. Like out of all the ones we've seen recently, there's so many things going on here. But you do have some external issues as well. We've talked about some of your neighbors here. Now, I'd say like fixing relations with Bensada probably isn't going to be that difficult. Something surely can be done there. But you do have good relations with Aria, which is nice. Aftane as well, but really Aria is probably your better bet there for long-term development. But the ever-present real threat outside, the external one, is still the Sphinx. So, but you can't really do much there. Now you have that General's Project with the watchtowers and all that. Great, but again, nothing is really going to happen until this internal mess gets fixed here. So you're going to have to level up your characters somehow, but then also you're going to have to really start trying to figure out how do you get more control of your country, because you barely have any to begin with. It doesn't really give us any mention here about armies. I would say maybe like a minimal forces is fair, right? That general has to have some troops to command. Doesn't really, unfortunately, tell us either like treasury or RP, regency points like it normally does. That was a little bit disappointing, but again, something to figure out between the players and DMs. Probably not too much, I would say, in regency, because again, look at the chart there. It's kind of a mess. You wouldn't have much accumulated. Gold should be a decent amount though, but nothing extravagant, right? But yeah, plenty of challenges. Let us know, guys, if you've played Zikala as a domain, or if you just adventured there. Also, again, yeah, just fun to be adventurers with all the stuff going on as well. Hit us up in the comments, like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.